Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report Day show presented by Rex MD. Has anybody maybe had some crazy live shows this week and you're dangling? You need to get going like that? Go to rexmd.com/chat because that's the place where you need to go to be able to satisfy the people you love the most. Now, today on the Raiders Report, we got Darren Waller replacement. I have been asked on Twitter, Instagram, all places, social media, what is the Raiders' plan to be able to replace a high-caliber tight end like Waller? When fully healthy, Waller's a top 5 tight end. I don't really think many people would dispute that. Yeah, there's Travis Kelce. Sure, there's George Kittle. But when fully healthy, Waller deserves to be up in that discussion. However, over the last 2 seasons, Waller hasn't been that dude. Maybe it's been the SI joint. Maybe it's been the hamstring. No matter how you look at it, Darren Waller has not been up to the contract extension that he originally signed. He signed a 3-year, $51 million contract, making him the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. Waller has not been that dude. However, the Las Vegas Raiders during the NFL free agency traded away Waller to the New York Giants for a 3rd-round pick, 100 overall. So you move on from Waller, you get a 3rd-round pick, which essentially is a 4th rounder if you consider comp picks. Think about it. The Raiders have a 3rd-round pick at pick 70. The Raiders also have a 4th-round pick at 109. Do the math. Which one is closer? I get it. You hear 3rd-round pick, you feel a little bit better. It's closer to a 4th-round pick than what you believe. So here's the one thing that I'm going to say. Before we get into our Waller replacements, we're going to look at guys that you can look at in terms of trades, free agency, the draft. But no matter what happens here, if the Raiders bring in a tight end, we're going to make a video here on the Raiders Report. So hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. And if you're watching this live right now, you know what to do. I told everybody watching this live show, if you're watching this video, you know what to do. And if you do it, I'm going to pick 5 special people that do what you're supposed to do. I'm going to put you in the next video that we do here on the Raiders Report. All right, so right now as it stands, here's the Raiders tight end depth chart. You got Jesper Horsted. You got Cole Fotheringham. Foster Moreau is actually, at the time that I am making this video, he is currently visiting the Cincinnati Bengals. So, the big question mark around this team is, what the hell is this team going to do? What is Josh McDaniels, what is Dave Ziegler going to do at the tight end position? Could they sign somebody? Could they trade for somebody? Could you end up drafting a tight end? Could you re-sign Foster Moreau? I'm going to be real with y'all. I respect the hell out of Foster. My girlfriend, Alex, she knows somebody who used to date Foster. And I have the utmost respect for this man right here. But for what the asking price is for him, I'm not willing to pay it. If he wants to go somewhere else, I will wish nothing but the best for him. Once a Raider, always a Raider. But in terms of bringing him back, I'm not necessarily sure where this falls. So how about this? We're probably going to make this the pinned comment, if I remember. Should the Raiders re-sign Foster Moreau? Give me a yes. Give me a no. What do you think ends up happening here with Foster Moreau? All right, Nation, so here are your options. To me, you got 3 options to replace him. First option, you sign a free agent. The number 1 option that I'm telling y'all right now that I would be on board for the Raiders signing, his name, it's Austin Hooper. If I'm looking at a tight end that can fit into what Josh McDaniels is trying to do, if I'm trying to find a tight end that can fit at a reasonable price, Hooper 2 years ago, when he was with the Atlanta Falcons, I believe he led the league at tight ends with receptions. He can catch, he can block. Unfortunately for him, it was a bad system in Cleveland. And because of that, has drastically fallen off. Because he has drastically fallen off, he went to the Tennessee Titans recently. If you're thinking about the Raiders, you got to think about connections. Tennessee, Mike Vrabel, New England Patriots. That's the connection I want you to think about. Austin Hooper, definitely a name to keep in mind. The top free agent still out there for tight ends is Dalton Schultz. I'll be real. I would not like this move. I think Dalton Schultz is a hell of a tight end. When he's healthy, he's a good player. He tore his ACL back in 2021, but what you might have to pay him is going to be too much. When you think about the level of talent at the tight end position, from a draft standpoint, I am not willing this offseason to pay a tight end over $10 million per year. I think Dalton Schultz ends up getting over $10 million per year. But if the Raiders QB that they have in mind for being able to learn behind Jimmy Garoppolo was Tanner McKee, because Schultz went to Stanford, I do think that that is something to at least keep in mind. Now, hey, we got more tight ends to be able to get through here. We got more tight ends to be able to talk about in free agency. But before we do that, if you guys can't tell, I am lit AF right now. I am as lit as I've ever been on the Raiders Report. And if you're lit AF right now and you need to be able to please the girl in the bedroom, RexMD, spam RexMD in the chat right now. They're here to help you out. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? We've all had those nights where we've had, I don't know, maybe we're too nervous, maybe we've had too much to drink, definitely too much to drink tonight. There's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick into drive when you need it the most. But have no fear, RexMD is here spreading cheer, even when you've had maybe one too many beer bongs, beer boots, a few other beers here on the Raiders Report. So, RexMD is FDA approved and the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored the Raiders Report to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all the men out there last longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes it getting generic and branded Viagra and or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription. And they deliver it discreetly to your door. No waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no co-pays. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to RexMD.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's RexMD.com/chat. For up to 90% off. I'm just saying this right now. You're the type of person, you got a girl, and she's willing to eat a corn cob backwards in her face. You gotta get RexMD. Spam those corn cobs in the chat. Only the real ones know. Speaking of corn cobs, corn, some cheese. Another guy you can look at as a Darren Waller replacement. Mercedes Lewis. I get it. Mercedes Lewis from the numbers perspective. He's not your guy. Good blocker, though. I do think this Raiders organization could look at a blocker at Mercedes Lewis. There's been reports out there that, hey, we could potentially look at Mercedes Lewis. The other name to keep in mind, I know it's outlandish. It's insane. But a guy who probably also uses RexMD, it's Gronk. Like, if there was one thing I have learned from this free agency period, is if you got a connection to Ziegler, you got a connection to Josh McDaniels, you got a connection to New England Patriots, there's a good chance you might be on this organization. If anybody thinks that Rob Gronkowski is impossible, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Let's go to the next thing that could potentially happen for the Raiders here. You could draft a tight end. And this is the thing that I think is the most realistic option for the Raiders. You draft a tight end. This draft class here with tight ends is, to me, the two most deepest positions in the 2023 NFL Draft. Cornerbacks, defense, which we need, tight ends. And the tight ends here, I got the top 10 tight ends in the 2023 NFL draft class. Michael Mayer, first round. I actually think Luke Musgrave and Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington, probably all second round, right? Where Luke Musgrave is one of those guys, and people always ask me, Mitch, why is Luke Musgrave so high on your list? He's an athlete. You want to find the next George Kittle? That's him. He has been unbelievably unhealthy with the Beavers. You like to eat beavers? Check out RexMD. But with Luke Musgrave, he is the next great athlete. He runs like a freaking gazelle. He is just unbelievably athletic. A lot of injuries. But if you can get him, he's the guy to target. Dalton Kincaid, on the other hand, has had more production. Much better blocker than Musgrave. But also still has that athletic ability. I think when I think of Musgrave, Dalton Kincaid, and then it comes down to Darnell Washington. These next three tight ends, to me, Mayer's number one, and it ain't close. TM it. Those next three guys, though, you can switch them all around you want. If you want a tight end that can block, that is a physical specimen. If you want an upside, Darnell Washington might have the highest upside out of any tight end because he's 6'7". He's 270. He can run. He can block. He can catch the football. He can do all the things that you're looking for. The question is, do you take somebody at 38? Do you take somebody at number 70? If the answer is yes, then you are going to take one of those next three guys. Here are my next 5 tight ends. Sam Laporta. The reason why I have Sam on here so high is because Iowa tight ends have been great. You got TJ Hawkinson. You got George Kittle. You got the guy who was on Denver who just got traded away to Seattle. Noah Fant, shout out to Seeps. But the guy that I love, and it's not just because of his last name, that I promise you. Shout out to RexMD. Zach Kuntz. Zach Kuntz is 6'8". He's 251. He's from Pennsylvania. I'm telling y'all right now, I know people very close to me who are NFL scouts who grew up in the Pennsylvania region, who are NFL scouts for the Buffalo Bills, that have scouted this young man right here, and he said, this is the next great tight end in the NFL. I'm going to take their word for it. He has the athletic ability. He's 6'8". If he's in the right system, I'm telling you right now, he can be legit. It's just, is he going to be put in the right system? I love me some Zach Kuntz. Who else loves himself some Kuntz? All right, y'all, here's my question to you. Which tight end would you draft in this class? Because that's the most important question I can ask you. Like, the Raiders need a tight end. No disrespect to Jesper Horsted. No disrespect to Cole Fotheringham. This is the most important question I can ask you. Who are the Raiders going to draft a tight end? They desperately need somebody. This is a huge, big-time need. If the Raiders didn't have so many needs on the defensive side of the football, you could argue wrong side. This is their biggest need. So what's the other option the Raiders have? You could trade for a tight end. I don't really think the Raiders end up trading for a tight end because of they want to hold on to draft picks. But there are 3 tight ends that come to my mind. C.J. Uzomah. Why? The New York Jets have made a few moves. I could see them potentially adding Mercedes Lewis if the Raiders don't get him, which have been reportedly interested in. Maybe get C.J. Uzomah. Bryson Hopkins. He also is like the 3rd-string tight end on that roster. Somebody to look at. Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz right now is the top tight end on Arizona. What if they go full tank mode? They also just signed or have a tight end on the back end. I'm just saying, if you were to make a move, these would be the 3 tight ends they would do. All right, y'all. Who will be the Raiders' top tight end next season? Put a deal on it. If you had to bet 10 corn cobs on it. Corn cobs. Corn cobs, Jackie. Corn cobs. Who will be the Raiders' top tight end next season? Let me know down in the comment section. If you made it this far in the video, at this point, you're a real one. I can't believe you watched this whole thing. Salute to you.